Hey Kyle,
Hey
how are you?
Rachel, I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing really well.
It's awesome to see it. They're doing a student art celebration today.
No, they're so
They
talented.
really are. You know, I used to say the Launchpad Cafe wouldn't do this until pigs could fly.
I see what you did there. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I'm really glad that you're here. I would like to talk to you a little bit about tools that teachers have to help manage their classroom. I know two of the biggest ones are probably procedures and rules. But what is the big difference between those two?
I could see how people would get confused between these two, and this is how I keep them straight. You know, when you talk about a rule, you're talking about management, you're talking about discipline, whereas when you talk about a procedure, you're talking more about a process that's happening in a classroom, how students are supposed to conduct something. So an example of a rule might be respectful to your classmates, but an example of a procedure would be, this is how you turn in your work to the baskets and come back to your desks. Another thing to bear in mind is that when teachers talk about rules, they're talking about something that they expect to happen throughout the entire class. But a procedure is more time specific. It's staged out rather than something that you do throughout the entire class.
Great, that makes a lot of sense. When you're dealing with a rule, I know, and it gets broken, usually there's a consequence that comes as a result of that. But if you have a student or students who are not following a procedure, what should the teacher's reaction be to that?
If one student forgets a procedure, everybody forgets stuff. Pull them aside and say, hey, you know, remember this is the way that we learned how to do this, and remind them gently. If a large group or the entire class is forgetting, that's actually a red flag that it's time for you to go back and reteach and rehearse everything with them. There might have been a break, or maybe you just kind of all fell off that particular habit. Just get on back there and use that same rapport building strategy to reteach that procedure so that everybody can get back on track again.
So many procedures deal with transitions, right? Movement in the classroom. And we as teachers know that a big opportunity for misbehavior happens when there's movement in the classroom. Kids want to talk to each other, they may like to nudge each other, take their time getting somewhere. So do you have any tips for teachers on how to make those transitions smoother?
So it's not just a timer or just a cue for movement, it's I'm going to set this timer, and my expectation for your transition is that you are going to move slowly, that you are going to keep your hands to yourself, that you're going to go directly to your table and not talk to people along the way. And then that way they see that as part of the transition too. It's not just about the time period, it's about how they're supposed to conduct themselves on the way. And this is going to make active learning so much more enjoyable. I think some teachers get scared off by active learning because of these transitions, and they shouldn't. They just need to set the expectations really early.
So speaking of transitions, I got a bit of a topic transition. That picture looks a lot like you.
Ha! What a coincidence.
Anyway.